Hello everyone, this is Arafel, and continuing the nostalgia train. This is probably the oldest game I've actually played, unless you count ports of other things. As you can see on the screen, this is a 1979 game. It's older than I am. And one of the things that make this interesting is, although this is an Atari game on a very early system, this is pre-personal computers, pre-Nintendo Entertainment System. It's actually a 3D space shooter. I mean, 3D is probably faked, but even so, that's kind of amazing. There are several different difficulties. When I played it back in the day, when I was to Novice, I'm going to try Pilot, which is the next difficulty up. And one of the things this game does is expose one of the weaknesses of the Atari system. Your input is normally a joystick with one button. That's not nearly enough for something as complicated as this, so you have to use the keyboard extensively. I'll open up G to open up the galactic chart. So basically our mission here is these starburst looking things are star bases that we're trying to protect. All the other symbols are various enemy ships that we're trying to destroy. The single ship symbols have one or two enemies. If there's 3 dots, there's 3. If there's 4, there's 4. The more dots there are, the more dangerous it is to go there, obviously, but the slower they move. Well, what they're trying to do is surround and destroy the star bases. So what we can do on this galactic chart is you pick a destination. That looks good. Yes, F to go back to forward, and H to enter hyperspace. C, turn on the carving computer, because since we're not on Novice, I do actually have to steer. Shields up with S. So the targeting computer on, you can see there's enemies there. You try to get them in the cursor and shoot at them. They'll be shooting back, of course. That's why you want shields. If you get hit while your shields are down, that's a bad thing. I'm pretty sure you're instantly destroyed. If you're hit when shields are up, that will drain some of your enemy, and it can, unless you're playing on Novice, destroy or damage some of your systems. My photons are damaged. That means I can only shoot one weapon at a time instead of 2. Let's accelerate. Oh, there's the next enemy. One useful thing the game does, although this is more to, I assume this is more to reduce the load on the system, but you can only actually have 2 enemies at most attacking you at the same time, even if there are 4 in the sector. Where is a... There. And you definitely want to have joystick control for this instead of... Math Mileage, I was playing with a numpad to do the joystick. This game, that's not too convenient because you do have the normal flight controls and it gets very awkward. Now, if something gets damaged, what you can do is go to a starbase. So I'll just hyperwork to one of those. Subspace radio damage means that I will not get updates on the situation. Am I in the right sector? Yes. So long-range sensors to see where the starbase is. Forward, shields can come down. Yep, that glowing dot in the distance is the starbase, so I want to get closer to it. Use the number keys to go to different speeds. Accelerate a bit more. I'm going to just try to keep it more or less centered. You come close enough that you can see 3 windows. It's a little bit further. And come to a stop. You wait, it says orbit established, stand by. Sends out a little supply drone. That will replenish your energy, which is the E here, and also repair any damaged systems. As you can see, the enemies are moving to try to surround the starbase, so I'll just move to one of them. Put on the shields ahead of time. Red alert tells us there are enemies in the sector. So in addition to the targeting thing in the bottom right, the numbers at the bottom will tell you the relative position of the enemies. The first two numbers are vertical and horizontal offset. The third one is how far they are. Sector scan damage. I think that's the long range sensors, which I hardly use anyway. Oh, where are you? The other way. Okay, the range number is high, which means they're pretty far. So, gonna be a little while to close in. 500, 400. Getting close, they should appear on screen fairly soon. Yeah, there are also meteors sometimes. You've seen a few of them on the screen. If you hit a meteor, that's bad for you. You can shoot them, but mostly you can just ignore them if you don't run right into them. Another system damage. That's the main reason I normally play on Novice, is because systems getting damaged is just annoying. And obviously it makes the game more challenging and interactive. I just don't like it. And you can hypergo without a destination, which I just accidentally did. And if you don't specifically pick a destination, you can turn up... And I assume there's some pattern to it, but you can get all sorts of weird places. Like, I seem to have jumped pretty much halfway across the map. Starbase surrounded, that means they have a starbase surrounded, of course. If I don't destroy enough of them fairly quickly, the starbase will be destroyed. Starbase destroyed is bad for your score. That also means you can't repair and refuel at that starbase if it's not there. That looks like my hyperwarp aim was a bit off. That tends to happen if you're not steering well, especially when you go that far. Now, the further you hyperwarp, the more energy it takes, and the easier it is to get off target. If you're playing on Novice, that's another nice thing about Novice. You don't actually need to steer, you just keep going straight ahead and you'll get where you want it to. But if you're on higher difficulties, the aim will kind of wobble around, and you have to correct for that. These are the hardest enemies, the glowy, saucer-looking ones. You have to be pretty close to them and hit them pretty hard to get past their shields. Which is one way the targeting computer helps. If you have a lock-on, which is indicated by those bars at the bottom, you shoot both your tubes at once and do massive damage, relatively speaking. Unfortunately, my targeting computer is now damaged, which means I'm not going to get the lock-on. And it's also not telling me where the enemies actually are. I don't think there are enemies left in the sector, even though it's still showing it. Because, again, computer damage means you're not getting accurate readings. No, there still is one. Also on the galactic chart screen, you'll notice there's a readout. This is the damage control. This says my computer is damaged, my long-range scanners are destroyed. Yeah, there is apparently another enemy around here somewhere. And the starbase has been destroyed. So yeah, this is not going too well, because I'm not used to playing on this difficulty, but yeah, that's pretty much how the game goes. It keeps going until either you're destroyed, all the enemies are destroyed, or all the starbases are destroyed, and then you get a rank based on your score. Yeah, that's pretty much the game, so I'm going to stop recording here, and I'll see you next time with another game.